Welcome back, everybody. It's been a long time since I've made my jalapeno poppers. So good, I always crave them in the middle of the winter, especially as we get closer to the football playoffs. There's a lot of prep work for this recipe, but it's worth it. First things first, we're gonna start out with the Jimmy Dean hot sausage. Last couple times I made this recipe, I used my wild game sausage, but most people in America are gonna have Jimmy Dean, Bob Evans, or another store sausage. Store sausage. I like to use the hot. If you don't like the hot, just use mild. Blackstone 36-inch Pro Series. I'm gonna go up to about medium, maybe medium low. You know me, I always like to start out with a slick griddle top, a little bit of avocado oil, rub it in, make it nice and shiny. Be careful though, I'm using my bare hands. You might want to use heat resistant gloves or tongs. A little more oil down in the middle, then we'll cook our hot sausage. Any kind of sausage works for this recipe. You can use chorizo. If you want to use Italian, go ahead and use Italian. We don't need to season it because this sausage is packed with seasoning, but we're gonna add a little salt, pepper, and garlic later. I have my Blackstone pellet grill preheating. I'm gonna set this pretty high at 400 degrees. This is a blend of hickory, cherry, and apple, and I put a smoke tube in there for extra smoke. I'm cooking the sausage on the griddle top, and then we're gonna cook our jalapeno poppers in the pellet grill, but you could do this same recipe in the house. Skillet for the sausage, and your oven, your kitchen oven for the poppers. But it's nice to be able to do this on the back porch with the Blackstones. When your sausage is done, we'll just move it into one pile, pull it, put this on a plate to cool off. This will be a really simple griddle clean, nice and oily Blackstone scraper, very light scraping. We're gonna get the extra grease and the griddle crumbs moved to the back and direct everything over here towards the grease cup. Should only take about 10 to 15 seconds. Grab my paper towels. You could use a cotton rag, whatever works for you. Again, being careful. Get the extra crumbs off. It's ready to be stored, or it's ready for another recipe. Jalapenos from the grocery store. If you're doing this recipe, I recommend the giant ones, gigantic. They didn't have all huge. They had some small ones as well, but you can see you just get a lot more bang for your buck with a bigger pepper. I think I'm gonna try to do about 24 of these today, so that's 12 peppers. I like to chop the tops off like this, cut them lengthwise. I'll use a spoon to remove the membranes. A lot of people have seen the poppers where they keep them whole and they pull the top off and they go inside with the little core machine and pull it out. Blackstone even made one of those. I have it way back in the day when they had their charcoal grill kebab. I've always preferred to do them this way. I like to cut the jalapenos in two. I'll start out with a couple small bricks of cream cheese. We all know cream cheese is really hard to mix. It's so hard. So I put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds. I have sharp cheddar. I just grated this myself. Pepper jack is a great option for this recipe. Diced red onion, chopped cilantro. We love cilantro in our family, so it goes in a lot of recipes. In with the sausage, it started to cool off. I'm gonna use gloves when you're dealing with cream cheese, which is really messy. Spoons just take forever, so we want to get this mixed up sooner rather than later. My rule of thumb when I make these is no different than when I make stuffed shells in the kitchen or French toast batter. I usually end up with a little extra mix. There's nothing worse than having 24 or 36 peppers and running out of mix. More often than not, I'll have extra left over. In that case, I'll just make another batch the next day. I mentioned seasonings earlier. A lot of seasoning in the sausage, so you don't need to. Any seasoning would work. I like to add a little salt, pepper, garlic. Sometimes I'll use a hickory seasoning. Pineapple sriracha works really well. Grab my halved jalapenos, and whatever works for you. We'll start with a spoon, but typically I end up transitioning to using my hands by the time that I'm finished, and I'll stack them nice and high like that. The amount of filling that you need is gonna depend on the size of your jalapeno. You can see there, this one's literally like a quarter of the size smaller. So it's not one size fits all. Everybody's gonna have different sizes sized peppers. Recommendation when you're doing jalapeno poppers, thin bacon. You know me, I am the thick bacon guy, the thick hickory cut bacon, but thin just works better. It gets crispier quicker and it wraps, it adheres to the pepper better. Grab yourself a big old piece of bacon right there at the tip of the pepper, and then we'll try to tightly wrap it. Usually we'll go in at the end. You have that greasy sausage and you have the cream cheese. Typically you can just tuck it in there like that. It's a very cute looking bacon wrapped popper. And repeat the process. I do like to sprinkle a little bit of seasoning on top. Since we had the pineapple sriracha out for the example, let's just go ahead and use that. Shout out to my buddy Steven Schmidt. Hey, he's on the Blackstone Griddle crew. You gotta check him out. Cooking with the Schmidt. Check out this gorgeous custom blaze orange camo propane cover. Whoo! Thanks, Steve. We're preheated. I'll try to do this as quickly as possible so we don't lose heat. I think the top rack's gonna work just fine. I ended up with 26 poppers. Close the hood. Let's check under the hood at the 15-minute mark. It's been 26 minutes. We're gonna do one more check. They look pretty phenomenal. We'll close that for just another minute or two. Of course, everybody's kitchen oven is going to be different, whether you're using convection or not. Small, big oven, old, new oven. Typically, it's taking 35 to 45 minutes when we do these in the oven, so way more even cook outside on the pellet grill. It's been about 27, 28 minutes, so I think we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and turn the power off. I'm also gonna have my wife get some footage of me getting some vertical shots for Instagram. Oh my goodness. Be careful, it's really hot over here. I'm gonna try to stack some of these up. You typically have to let these cool off for 5 or 10 minutes before you eat them. Some barbecue sauce that I picked up at the Pueblo Chili and Frijoles Festival. And I'm gonna dust it off with some fresh chopped cilantro. Take a look at that. It's time to give it a try. Oh my goodness. I mentioned this earlier, you have to let these things sit for about 10 minutes so the cheese cools down. It's hard to do. You want to grab that thing, but think about it. When you grab a piece of pizza straight out of the oven, same thing, all the toppings slide off. If you can wait 10 minutes, let's give it a try. Really even cooking, so it seems like everything I've cooked in the pellet grill, piece of cake to cook. It's really a no-brainer. Kind of set it and forget it, but they're absolutely perfect. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get this recipe up at blackstoneproducts.com. And until next time, this is Todd. I'm saying praise the Lord and pass the jalapeno poppers.